introduction. And yeah, it's terrific to be actually presenting today in our own platform, but also to be sponsoring the event, the XR Call 2020 event. There's some excellent speakers today, and I've been watching some of the talks. Incredible sort of information and sharing going on that's just been invaluable. So part of today's presentation is to see the platform that some of you are in. Some of you are in the 3D environment, some of you are joining Zoom on the 2D. But I thought for today it would be great to just quickly show you how to build an experience. So what we're going to look at is, in a few clicks, getting a virtual event up and running. Now, just to give you a bit of background, I'm a 25-year veteran of the virtual reality industry, been building VR companies even pre-internet. I was actually thinking about bringing on a virtual reality headset today, one of the ones I owned from 1997, built by Sony, but I didn't have that right at hand. But the point is, I've been working in the industry for a long time. And the platform we're in today, LearnBrite, is all web-based. So you can join with any browser. And as Jean-Philippe said, you can actually join on any device. So you can get a mobile phone, a tablet, a laptop, even Chromebook computers, desktops, all of the AR and VR headsets on the market as well, and all join in a room together without installing any apps. Now, this is kind of seriously important in education and government and enterprise, where deploying new technology and getting vendor approval and IT security cut through is really difficult. So our platform solves most of those situations. But it also means you get a quick return on investment. All of your students, all of your employees, all of your partners can jump into a meeting space instantly just by going to a URL. And I often describe to people, it's the same as sharing a YouTube link with your friends. They can go and watch a video, the same sort of accessibility for these spaces. So what I'm going to do today is take you through a little experience of creating a virtual event world. Now, hopefully you can all see my screen being shared here at the moment. And what we're going to look at is this, we're in a 3D space right now, a little experience. I have my avatar that we can see there. And what I'm going to do is show you how to build these spaces and also how to build an event world. So a collection of spaces that builds up a virtual world. The LearnBrite platform itself is best described as something like the Adobe suite, but for producing immersive experiences, and something like Zoom for conferencing and interactions. So let's take a look at this particular dashboard here. This is the dashboard on the back end of LearnBrite, where you create spaces, you create experiences. And you'll see you have a few things up here, world, spaces, scenarios, bots, which we'll get into a bit later, and spaces that are shared with me. If anyone's in the 3D space at the moment, you can click on the screens to zoom into them to get the really close-up view of what I'm sharing. So in my library, I already have some spaces here. You can see they're in this particular gallery. And it's easy enough to create a new space. We have many templates for rooms, so you say create a new space. And then you get a list of all these templates here. So you can have breakout rooms, showrooms, more informal lounges, sort of gallery and meeting spaces, tropical island if you want to. But there's lots of spaces to choose from to create different types of experiences. And we can very easily just choose a room that we would like a breakout room here, give it a name. I call that breakout room 1. And I have a little toggle here if I want to make it a single user room or multi-user. Single user rooms are effectively like 3D websites. So I've just created that room. Now it exists. So I can actually click on that to visit that room instantly. And I can start inviting people to that space. We can get in there. We can do screen shares. We can add models in 3D, just about anything. So here we are in the space. It's empty at the moment, but I can add things like some media boards, for instance, a screen share. I can just drop that in, place it against the wall. I can have multiple ones of those. And it's pretty easy to start decorating the room. We can have many people on webcams at the same time, share your screen in there. We can also decorate using content. So LearnBrite provides a library of 3D content that's optimized and guaranteed to work and perform well. But we also use open standards throughout. So if you've got models in GLTF, OBJ files, FBX files, Collada files, doesn't matter, you can bring them in as well. So we also link to and integrate with Google Poly search engine and Sketchfab directly there in the browser. And I'm a little editor in here. I have a crown next to my name tag. You can have multiple editors in the same space at the same time, editing together and creating and building environments that you would like. My avatar is dressed in a kind of funny way today. I was doing a demonstration earlier for the construction industry. We have actually over 1 billion style combinations for avatar outfits, everything from medical scrubs to construction worker outfits, suits, formal gear, casual gear, pretty much anything you can imagine for any scenario. And that just makes it super easy to create these experiences. You don't need to find 3D models, they're all in the libraries. You don't need to find avatar outfits, that's all in the library as well. And you don't need to program either. All this is done with drag and drop and a little bit of actions, choosing actions you want to trigger. So you really don't need programmers either. And that's the point of the platform. It's got to be easy enough for event managers and knowledge workers to create immersive experiences. Now you might have noticed these little blue markers on the ground. You can click on them to jump to different spots. Really easy to use on touchscreen devices like tablets and phones. You can also tap and hold anywhere you want to jump to a spot in the room. You don't have to just be restricted to the spots that are in the room, but they do help you focus on certain content. You'll notice they have a little point there that points you in the right direction, which is great for aligning with walls and so forth. So this is a room. You've seen we can add content, we can add media boards. We can also drop any URL into the chat here and pin it into the environment. That could be an image, a YouTube video, any asset that's on the web, you can just drop in and link to in the environment. So that's how easy it is to build a space. We can build multiple spaces. So for instance, I can create another space and we might create a seminar room, and I'll call that our seminar room. Again, instantly create them. There's also a blank template, so you can put your own room model in as well. And you also can use 360-degree images and videos as rooms as well. So now you can see we have this seminar room here. We have a breakout room. And what we can do is start combining these rooms into what's called a world. So I'm going to go over here, click on worlds. I don't have any worlds created yet. And create a new one. Just give it a name. Let's call it the XR 2020 demo world. I can give it a description. You'll see there's a list of spaces here, and that goes back to my library. It shows me all the spaces that we have. I'm going to choose the breakout room and the seminar room. So now I've got a world made up of individual spaces. I can say which one I want to be the one that people land in. I think I want them to land in the seminar room. So I'll change that. I can also lock spaces so they're not available to public coming into an event, and then I can turn that lock off when I want to. And that's it. So now I've created a world. You can see the images of the world here. I might just want to change the order of that. So here we go. Seminar room at the top. That's better. So there's the seminar room. And now I can just click on that world to launch it. So here we go. It launches up again in the browser. It'll work in any browser, even browsers in the VR devices. So it'll work in Edge browser, in Microsoft Reality Portal. It'll work in Firefox and Helio browser, in Magic Leap. It'll work in the Oculus browser and all of those devices as well. And with Steam and with Firefox and Chrome on desktop. So here we have a seminar room, and that's just one room in our world. You'll also notice over here, we have a little menu. I have a number of things that I can do in here. I can, for instance, change my profile. Maybe I'll put in LearnBrite today. And I can put in my role, CEO. And that's all configurable as well. So now my name tag is updated. And in this menu, you'll see there's locations. So in locations, you'll see the different locations we can jump to. So I can go to the seminar room or the breakout room. You'll notice there's a count of users in here. At the moment, it's just set to a default of 15 people per room, but we scaled to an unlimited size. So you can easily increase those numbers to whatever you like. Let's go to the breakout room. I'll just close some of these other tabs here. Because now I'm in two places at once. So here we are in the breakout room. Again, we've got the world, different locations. We can jump between them. And as I said, we scale to unlimited size. So this room, we've had people with 250 people in the same room quite happily on browsers, but generally we recommend between 15 to 50 per instance. Now, what I mean by instance is this room can support hundreds, thousands of people, but what it does is splits up the audience into groups of 50, for example. And but anyone who is a presenter, that's like me, who has an editor tag next to my name, will be shown in every instance, and so will all the 3D decorations I do. Any video and audio presentations are shared across every instance as well. So you can really scale to unlimited size audiences. And as we're seeing today in this conference, we're using Zoom tightly integrated into our platform. In fact, Zoom, our 3D client is a Zoom client. So people don't even need to install Zoom. They just go into the 3D environment and Zoom shares to the screens both the videos and the screen share. And you can do both Zoom meetings and Zoom webinars with people connecting in these 3D environments, again, on any device. So you can be in the Oculus Quest watching a Zoom meeting within this WebXR environment. So this is the simple way to create worlds. And we have a ton of capabilities for changing how you see things. You notice before I switch to first person view, I can make that the default. You can make it the default to go into immersive view if you want to for all users. You have tools like laser pointers as well. And you also have the ability to do achievements and gamification. So lists of tasks for people to do across the world. That might be collecting on a scavenger hunt or visiting expo stands at a trade show. And then you can reward people with things like virtual goods. So maybe a new t-shirt or hat from my avatar, maybe 500 points on a leaderboard, which are also supported in the platform. Or you could maybe unlock another room to visit, kind of escape room style. So all these features make it possible to create events that follow or align what the event's about. What actions would you like users to take? Is it visiting expo stands? Is it watching videos and other collateral that you've put into a room? Is it connecting with other people and swapping business cards? You can reward people for all those different types of actions. So it's super easy to create a incentivized journey within your environment. Now, I wanted to cover a few things about best practices. So building these events and the spaces is one thing. That's quite easy to do. So already I've built the space. I can invite people via this little person with a plus sign, send them invites, or in the back end, I can import a CSV file to the invitations section. And here I can either type individual invites or I can bulk list and just paste a whole list in there and invite them all at once. And then you can see a list of your invitations below, block them, kick them out, manage your invites that way. So building a space and inviting people to it, super simple, really easy. You get that done in a few minutes and a bit more time to decorate your space to suit your event. But then after that, running the event is something that people are just starting to get a handle on for running these virtual events. And there's a few things that I'd like to mention that will sort of help out. One thing I think that is pretty important is filling the gaps. A lot of the time you'll have presentations and you might have some time in between. And often what happens to rooms is they go silent. Sometimes you'll have open chat where everyone's on the call together and they're talking, and that kind of continues in a meeting style. But when you're doing webinars or broadcast presentations to an audience, you really want them to feel kind of the vibe of being in the room. So things that we recommend in creating an event are things like having music running when there is when nobody's speaking. So if you're still networking and walking around the room and chatting to people, just have some background music running, something that keeps the space alive. And you can do that with adding sound effects in the platform, or you can do it through the broadcast screens if you like. For instance, I could drop a YouTube video in here and share that, or I could set up some sound effects, which is pretty easy to do. Even with items here, I can, let's add a new item. Maybe we've got a jukebox. Let's see. Yep, there's a jukebox. Well, there's plenty of jukeboxes. Okay, now it's hard to choose. So if I choose a jukebox and then place it into the space, oh, it's tiny. We might scale that up. I can place that wherever I want, but then I can do things like add actions to it. So here I can get a little script editor and I can choose to play a sound effect or play some ambient noise. These can be any audio file, MP3s that are on the web, just a URL, and then you can play those sound files. So here you can put the URL in, you can loop it, you can have it resume when it's been paused. So really easy to add things that are clickable, interactable, and that create activities within the space. So having music playing in the background, just filling the gaps so there's no dead silence from a presentation, kind of important. Another way to add interactivity and also to add guidance for people that join is to put bots in the scene. So the platform supports adding characters, virtual characters. I have a bot here that I produced before, and I can put him wherever I like in the environment. Again, you can decorate them with the 1 billion style choices, and I can click on this little chat bubble, and here I can write whatever I'd like the bot to say. So welcome to the event. Click the blue markers to teleport, for example, teleporting, teleport. Okay, and I can also add a camera shot, kind of cinematic. So maybe we zoom in on the character, and a gesture. So he'll raise his hand, and this allows me to save that. Now that character has a script in them. This characters use text to speech in 51 languages as well. So here we are. I can click on the bot. I'm not sure if you're hearing what that bot's saying, but actually it's set up with a female voice. It's all configurable. You can change it up whichever way you like. As I said, 51 different voices and languages are supported. So you can use them as guides. They can direct people. They can inform them. Great for putting them in rooms where they're more casual, like where you're consuming information. We even have people using them in virtual trade shows as trade show booth kind of attendees to give information, but they can also be scripted to ask questions, collect user data through surveys as well. So great tools to add to an event. Another part of making better events is actually creating engagement. So we recommend that you use features like polls, for instance. Polls can be used in the middle of an experience to ask people for feedback. And that's a great way to just sort of engage people instead of having a one-way conversation. And on top of that, you can use interactives as well. So you can create interactive elements, animated items in a scene, super easy to do. And in organizing bigger events, moving people around is also important. So you have ways to do announcements. This is a nice passive way of telling people that something's coming. So I might say the keynote starts in 5 minutes. And I make that announcement, and that will appear in the chat in every room in the world. But sometimes you want to do things a little bit more kind of aggressively instead of passively, and you want to move people to different spaces. So here in the participants menu, we have the ability to see the world, and this will list in every room who's in what room. And so I can click on someone and I can send them to another room. So there's somebody, Danny, there. I can, well, I won't do that right now, but you can send to that person to any spaces listed in your world, and they'll be teleported there to be in that space. This is perfect for creating breakout rooms. So let's say you've got a keynote on, you want to split people up in groups of 20 to different rooms to do workshops. You can do that instantly. And as you might have seen there, you can also whisper to people. So somebody might be in a different space and I can send a private message to them like, hey there. And then that gets sent over. So that's how some of the tools for event management, it makes it super simple and easy to do. People can go between locations, or you can send them directly there with a deep link as well. And don't forget, you can also use these links and ways to get people in by sharing those links via email. You can share them in social media. So you can really onboard people and get 100% of your audience into these experiences. And that's really what is so important about this platform, is that you get 100% of your audience in. And instead of having to install software, configure devices, and lose people, you get everyone able to be jumping in. And if they want to use VR, they can, but it's not an essential requirement. So yeah, that gives you a little bit of a tour of the experience and also the capabilities of the platform. There's a free 30-day trial if somebody wants to get in and build your own spaces, invite your colleagues in and take it for a spin. You can absolutely do that. As you see, it's highly configurable. So I know I'm meant to take half an hour for this presentation, but really I believe in just telling you enough of what you need and not taking up all your time. So at this point, I think we can pretty much open it to questions. And if anyone has any questions or wants to see something being done in the environment, we can do that. You're also welcome, if you can type in that very long URL at the top, you're welcome to come and visit these spaces I've just created. They're open to the public. So yeah, if there are any questions, I'd love to answer them.
Okay, thank you very much. Greatly appreciate. And there is a question from Laurent.
Yes, nice presentation, Danny. I just wonder, there is already a question from Liza in the forum, and she said, how do you make people feel cozy and get ready and very fast? Because it could be very time consuming to enter in a new world like that.
Yeah, that's a great question. And if you've joined in the 3D environment for this event today, you'll notice that you're teleported to a particular spot. So one of the things we see is when we're in edit mode is a spawn point, right? So you'll see here, little orange hotspot here is where people start when they join the space. So what you can do is have that facing or in a particular area you want people to land before they go to see what they're meant to be focusing on. Then we recommend, as you'll see in the event that's running today, we have a big banner or poster that gives you 3 clear instructions. How to click on the blue spots, how to look around, click and drag to look around in different directions. And in case you need it, also how to use the locations menu. So these few things are, and also how to zoom in. So the rest of it's all auto start. So you can, if you're running a webinar, when a person joins in, the audio will start automatically, the video streams will start automatically, the directions of how to move around are right there. And then we recommend as well, as part of that, is also adding a bot or a virtual character that can direct you. So you can land in a space and instantly be in a conversation with a virtual character that can explain things to you. So they will talk to you, animate, speak to you, and they can also present choices. So if you want to dive deeper into some information on a particular topic, you can. But using those 3 things, pointing people in the right direction, showing them a poster of what the key activities are, and using a bot to inform them of how to interact in the space, without question, those 3 things have solved all of the questions we've had with new attendees into spaces from a super wide audience. And we're talking people that are not tech savvy. So from all industries coming in and using the platform. And with these point and click blue markers, make it super simple again for people that may not be cognizant in how to use computer games and run around with the arrow keys or WASD keys. So all of that's built into the platform. And as you've seen, it's pretty simple. We don't try and overload people with mastery of navigation. It's more focused on getting to the content.
Okay. Lisa Payton, do you have your mic unmute or you want? Okay. There is a question from Lisa Payton, from Danny.
I think that was the question Danny. I just answered.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much for answering that question. That was perfect. That was just what I needed to know. And I love your platform. So great job. Thank you for the demo.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And we can see that somebody's actually joined us here they typed the URL and they're in here instantly in this presentation that I'm doing right now. Of course, you can lock spaces. You don't have to make them public, but you can have guests in as well. So that's how easy it is for people to jump into an environment. You can dial up and down the access as much as you like, but that just goes to show you that creating a space while we're in this presentation and having people join is as easy as it can be.
Yeah. Please, Danny, can you show on screen or how to go to the gallery? To the artist gallery from Isis?
Not in this world, because I'm not linked to that. But that's one of your spaces in your world. So I recommend that. Jean-Philippe has not only set up a couple of spaces for the conference, but he's also set up an art gallery with some really cool artworks. So yeah, if you find the link in the event schedule, you should really go and take a look at it. It's really cool. Yeah.
So for the listeners that there is something specific, maybe some you miss them, but there is an art gallery actually on. There is an art gallery you can visit, and you will see how powerful could be the LearnBrite. You have the link. It's this gallery, and I will send you after the conference. Okay, there is a question from Mark. What time is it? We have again 2 minutes. Mark from La Réunion. You know La Réunion?
He is asking, do you need a huge and special laptop to run this application, LearnBrite? What is the processor to run this amazing thing? Well, that's a great question, and I want to answer that really quickly. We support all browsers and devices. We even support Internet Explorer 11 on older notebooks, which is pretty incredible, but that leaves us a lot of optimization to run in the bigger platform. So you can run this on low-end mobile phones, tablets, Chromebook computers, which are widely spread through education as well. So it'll run on, you don't need an accelerator graphics card to run it. It is optimized, incredibly optimized to work well. So all devices across organizations, education and government can get you in. So really built to make sure that you can run it, and low-end, you know, cardboard experiences as well, and Oculus Go and those sorts of devices are fully supported too.
I can confirm that because I made a lot of testing with this platform, with to be sure. That we
I want to know the same.
Yeah, Mark, go on, please.
Yes, please. Thank you very much, Danny, for this amazing presentation. As you know, for this VR adoption, most of the people don't have the HoloLens, or they don't have the huge processor in the laptop or in the computer. So I think this approach to make easier this this connection with your room or with your structure is perfect. I think you have opened a new area.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, it is about onboarding more people into VR. My goal is to get as many people into virtual reality as possible, and this is that soft on-ramp that gets people into trying VR, and it allows corporations to get a return on investment by doing these events and training to all of their audience, not just the few that have the headsets.
Yes, exactly. This is, I think, this is the problem. There is a huge gap between the person they have the HoloLens or the cask, and some people they don't have this this device. So I think you are on the right way. Perfect. Thank you very much.
I call it the VR chasm. VR chasm. That's the thing we're trying to solve, and I think we've done a pretty good job.
Yeah, for
bravo,
sure.
Bravo! I love it.